Hey, what is up everyone, Nick here, and man, it feels like it's been a really long time since we've seen an episode of The Flash, but I believe the last season ended May of this year, so I mean, when you think about it, it's really been 5 months, so we had kind of a break from Central City for the past, summer here, but we're back into the action, and this episode didn't really let down. I mean, it spent like a good deal of the episode kind of, recapping what had happened prior to the season, and then it kind of went into where everyone's been, the different characters, and it's actually kind of interesting where people ended up. I wasn't expecting Barry to be kind of isolating himself when we start this episode out, and like it seems like he's kind of putting the blame on himself for what happened at the end of the first season, where it's revealed that Ronnie Raymond actually sacrificed his life in saving Central City, kind of having to stop the singularity that was up in the air, because it was explained how that was actually, ended and collapsed and all that. And yeah, so a lot of what Barry is kind of dealing with in this season is kind of trying to accept the fact that things will happen when he's a hero, and he just kind of has to move on with that. He has to just kind of live with that and trust in his friends to help him out and stuff like that. And it seemed like he kind of didn't want to accept people and bring them back into his life. And we get a couple good flashbacks that kind of bring that home. And it felt a lot like the early seasons of Arrow, how the flashbacks would directly parallel what was happening during that episode. Like, say they were trying to teach you, or like they were trying to teach Oliver some type of lesson about what's going on during the episode. Like he was kind of dealing with something, and then the flashback like kind of paralleled that and showed that he also had to deal with something very similar a few years back. And it seemed like this episode of The Flash did that really well. And it was cool to see how they introduced Jay Garrick as well, and the Atom Smasher character. They felt pretty natural. I'm still not like Atom Smasher's look was kind of odd. I kind of would have preferred to see a slightly more traditional costume instead of just like a Bane type of helmet and cut like sleeveless, vest type of gear. But it was cool. I thought the effects were pretty well done on him, and it was neat that he at least, grew in size and had his power set from the comics, or so it appeared to be. Other things that I liked about the episode, the intro was really cool when he was like fighting Heatwave and Captain Cold, but obviously that was revealed to be a dream sequence, so that didn't really happen. The ending where, spoiler alert here, if you're watching this and you don't want to know what happens toward the end of the episode, you should probably skip over to the very end here. But yeah, I thought it was a really cool moment when Henry Allen finally got out of prison and was kind of, just allowed to do his own thing. But unfortunately, I saw where he was coming from, where he said that he couldn't be in Central City anymore because they needed the Flash, rather than just having him kind of be this crutch for Barry, just having Barry always kind of in that back of his head, like, oh, my dad is still here, I've got to look out for him. And he can't have that kind of distractions when he's trying to be a hero and trying to be the symbol for people to look up to. But all in all, I'm really excited for this season. I love the ending where Jay Garrick came in. I thought he'd be a little more prominent this episode, but I'm sure he'll be doing more stuff throughout this season. So I would give this episode about an 8 out of 10, and I highly recommend you guys go check it out if you enjoyed the first season. And also, if you like this review and you want to get a more in-depth discussion on this week's episode of The Flash and Arrow, be sure to check out this episode's of the Super Friends, which will be out Thursday, October 8th. We will continue the discussion there. Leave your thoughts on this episode down below, and till next week, this is Nick signing off.